What is up, teammates? I know it's been a pretty exceptionally long time since I went live. Honestly, these videos can be a little draining for us. But I did want to check in with my adult students, my parents of students, or any parents interested in bringing their kids into classes. And I want to talk about one of the main things that I wanted baked into our classes from the very beginning, and that's our teammate character skill of the week, right? I think, like, I'm not trying to tell anybody how to live their life or what they should think is important, but I think putting a little bit of discussion time into character traits and topics helps kids and adults, figure out who it is they really want to be and what they want to focus on being so that they can, modify their decision making to become the person that they know they can be or that they know they want to be. And last week we were talking about patience. Now, patience is always a fun one to talk to the kids about because it's a long word, and most of us learn what words mean through context. So a lot of times, kids, even up to teens, will say, "Oh, well, patience means to wait," but that's not what it means at all. Actually, it means to accept calmly, right? To accept and stay calm. Now, the one thing I was talking to my teenagers about, specifically, and my adults about, is that accepting something and presenting calm about it doesn't mean, like, in other words, showing patience doesn't mean that you have to be calm on the inside, right? You can be angry, you can be frustrated, you can be sad, you can be upset. These are all legitimate feelings, but to have patience means I am going to express myself in a calm fashion regardless of the way that I feel in that moment. And that could be as simple as I need a few minutes to myself to process what's happening, or I'm not going to be able to remain calm through this situation, or whatever it is. Now, when we're dealing with young kids, we always talk about just staying calm when we have to wait, staying calm when we're told no, accepting no as an answer, setting boundaries, things along those lines. But one of the discussions that really hit me last week was recharging, right? So we all have a level to our patience, a limit to how much patience, how much we can deal with while staying calm about it. What's up, Jaden? Man, I wish I'd done a gaming stream today. Doing this one instead. But when I was talking to the teenagers about it, I asked them, I was like, so when you run out of patience, what is the most effective way to recharge, right? And it was kind of funny because a lot of them hit around the answer, right? Like a lot of them were like, oh, I'm going to take time to myself. Yeah, that's right. You can take time to yourself. And like a couple people mentioned, oh, I distract myself. So I get on social media, I get on YouTube, I do this, do that. And that led to a very interesting discussion because then I asked them, I was like, okay, but when you find yourself scrolling on YouTube for 20 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, and you think it's recharging your patience, how often is it that immediately after someone asks you to do something or says something to you and you get frustrated and you just want to snap their head off? And most of the kids on the floor raised their hand on that one. And I was like, look, I love social media. I'm on social media all the time. I make a lot of content. I love content creation. And so I'm not here to knock social media, but we have to understand how it works too, right? So I created a brand new TikTok account to do this little experiment. I created a brand new TikTok account. It had no idea, I had no idea what to show me and whatever. So took a brand new account, started scrolling for about 10 minutes. And all I did was I kept the notebook and I wrote down what types of videos were shown to me, the emotional response they were designed to get from the viewer, and all these kind of things across, I think it was like 15 videos in this amount of time. And what I discovered and what I was sharing with my kids is that, out of those 15 videos, there's 7 or 8 of them were meant to anger, meant to frustrate, meant to cause fear or doubt or uncertainty. 3 or 4 were good dopamine hit, cat videos, funny stuff, really interesting. Another 3 or 4 were like things to teach you stuff, learning and stuff like that. And what I noticed is the thing is all these emotions change with each piece of content that you consume. So when you think, oh, I'm just going to scroll through TikTok or YouTube to recharge myself, I'm done peopling at the moment, sounds like a good idea. But then you get on there and your emotions are pulled in 15 different directions in 15 minutes. And our bodies simply aren't designed for that level of emotional changes happening so frequently and so fast. And that's why for a lot of us, especially teens that are still developing the parts of their brain for emotional regulation, can spend 10 or 15, 20 minutes scrolling and then be weirdly frustrated whenever someone tries to talk to them. It's because they're mentally exhausted. They're emotionally exhausted. Social media is designed in a way to take us from one emotion to the next so quickly that we end up emotionally exhausted from the whole thing. What's up, Devil Baba? Is it Pluto? I don't know what you're talking about, but all right. Sorry, YouTube comments get a little crazy. So anyway, that was a great conversation we had, and it's one of those things you have to be self-aware of. Like, you have to ask yourself, how do I feel whenever I get off social media? How do I feel when someone tries to interact with me when I get off social media? And then ask yourself if that truly is a good use of your time when it comes to recharging the battery of your patience. So what I told my kids and students, and this is something I still feel is important, look, I don't like sitting in my own head either. I get pretty dark. I have bipolar disorder, a couple other things. I want to get into that. But like, sitting in my head for too long can definitely be detrimental for me. So I definitely understand the idea of not wanting to do that. But there's a certain level where it needs to be done, right? Sometimes we need to sit with ourselves and be like, why do I feel this way? Why did this trigger me? Why am I frustrated about this? Why am I angry about this? How can I proceed in a calm fashion that's not going to ruin my relationship with this person? All of those kind of things, right? And what I do when I know I have to do this, when I know I have to sit down and actually process what I'm feeling, is I set a 20 or 30 minute timer, because I know that by that point, I've come up with some things I could have handled better. I've come up with a plan of how to move forward and all of that. And if I continue to ruminate on it past that, then I'm just damaging myself. I'm just causing myself to become depressed, anxious, afraid, and things like that. So I limit it. But if we really want to recharge our patience, yeah, we need a little alone time. But what we really need to do is one of two things. One, we need to sit with ourselves and actually process the emotion we're feeling, ask if it truly is warranted, because while all feelings are valid, not all feelings are justified, right? So we have to understand that just because we have an emotion and it's valid for us to have that emotion, it doesn't mean our emotion is justified in the moment, or that our emotional response is justified in the moment. So that's something that we always have to take a close look at. So when it comes to recharging, you gotta actually try to process the emotion. Ask yourself why you reacted that way, why this thing is triggering you. You might be surprised at your answer. And then I always look at, okay, how can I move forward and try not to make the same mistake twice in my life, right? And then once you have that, stop ruminating on it. Because look, I'm talking to you overthinkers now. I've been an overthinker most of my life. You overthinkers will do the good work and sit there and process the emotion and figure things out, but then you just turn it into a doom reel in your own head, which is no better than what I was talking about in scrolling through social media. And you'll take yourself through all these emotional roller coasters, replaying it in your mind over and over and over again. But once you have kind of figured out why you feel the way you do and figured out a plan of how to move forward with it, you don't need to ruminate on it anymore. It doesn't have to still be there, right? We can learn to let that go at that point. And I feel like that's really, really important, but it's something that used to be kind of innate in society because there were far fewer things to entertain us, so we were naturally put into positions to be bored or not have much to do or whatever. And that, of course, is happening less and less with technology and time constraints and all the pulls at our time, especially as we become adults and even parents, and we have all these schedules to work through, and our lives feel like we're living them for other people. Our entire life is built out around other people's routines, and it is important to take some time to yourself, but I think we have to use that time wisely. And this is why I was talking about it in relation to patience. Now, if I am not able to sit down and have a productive thought process or a productive meeting with myself over the emotion that I'm experiencing, then what I might need is distraction. I might need to distract myself away from that onto one particular topic for a certain amount of time. It's surprising how much better you can feel after having a 10 or 15 minute conversation with someone in your life where you're talking about the same subject the whole time, where it's just one subject, you're cracking jokes, you're giving your opinion, you're listening to other person's opinion and all that, just general socialization. It's amazing how much that can help recharge our battery of our patience and stuff like that too, right? Oh, maybe I should be scrolling down these comments. I didn't realize there were more. My bad. All right. But I just wanted to touch base with my adult students, with my parents of kids in my classes, with any parents that have ever thought about coming in. We take martial arts seriously, but we have a lot of fun when we do it. I feel like fun and work can coexist just fine. That's one of the reasons I love doing this for a living. We get to play games, learn stuff. Yeah, we do some hard training. Yeah, we learn some hard stuff. We get to play around with it though. We get to socialize. We get to be around people. I feel like the kind of things like we do, and I don't just mean martial arts. I also have a parkour and acrobatics program. I have a capoeira program, and I would say the same applies to things like dance and gymnastics and tumbling and whatever else, right? That having that place to go where you are forced to put down the technology for a little bit and you get to just be in a group of people, communicate and socialize, while at the same time you don't have to make decisions. You're being told what to do. You come to a martial arts class, okay, this is what I want you to try to do. Boom, and you go do that, right? There's something really freeing about having some aspects of your life where you get to let go of control for a little bit, and that's what I think doing activities can be great for you. Look, I still do activities. I teach at a martial arts, parkour, acrobatic, capoeira studio, and I still take 1 or 2 nights a week to go train in my own stuff, just to go have fun. I have a jiu-jitsu class that I've been attending for many, many years. I have a capoeira class I've been attending for many, many years. I have an acrobatics class I've been attending for many, many years. And those aren't things I'm necessarily doing for my business. Those are things I'm doing so that I can step away and not be the one in charge for a little bit, and be able to put my phone down and have that excuse if someone reaches out to me and I reach back out to them, oh, sorry, I was in this class. I'm not allowed to have phones in this class. And I was doing something for myself and I was learning something. It's a lot of fun, right? But I also feel like it's important, if we're going to, particularly if we're going to cater to kids, but we do this with our adult programs too, if we actually do something to help people find who they want to be, to help people question their daily habits and decisions, because that's where change happens, right? That's where self-improvement happens, and I guess that's really the core of it. I'm in the self-improvement game, whether for myself or other people. And that, look, big changes don't start through big things and big decisions. Big changes start when you decide to change your decision-making process that you use every single day, and decide to view your decisions through a different lens than the one you've trained yourself to view your decisions through, right? So to be able to have these discussions related to character traits, related to things some people would call virtues, some might not, to be able to have these discussions related to those allow us to actually think about the topic in ways that we don't normally think about it. Involving yourself in a discussion about things like patience or integrity allows you to filter and sort your thoughts about the topic and how you feel about it when people treat you with patience and integrity, or when you treat other people with patience and integrity, or how that may make them feel, or how it makes you feel, or whatever else. And once we have those discussions, it allows us as adults to reframe our decision making and go, oh, well, next time I make a decision about how to respond to something, I'm going to try to look at it through this lens. And then you do those small little changes to your decision making process are where massive self-improvement happens, where finding yourself happens, where learning to love yourself happens, where learning to be the person you want to be. That's where that happens, right? That's why with the Teammate Character Skill of the Week program we built it. I didn't buy that program from anybody. Our entire curriculum is built from the ground up. There is nothing in our curriculum that was bought and paid for or anything like that, right? And that curriculum goes through a lot of things, from patience, as I'm talking about now, your ability to accept something and stay calm. And like I said at the beginning of this video, staying calm doesn't mean not feeling some sort of way. You can be upset and still present as calm, and even express that you are upset while presenting as calm. That is handling a situation with patience and accepting that the situation is there and that it's made you feel a certain way. Integrity, little kids, we talk about keeping your word, but that's just not being a hypocrite. That's learning to live by and make decisions based on the beliefs that you yourself say you have, right? If you say this thing would make the world a better place, okay, make your decisions based on that belief, right? What chains am I wearing? What? Isn't that an eye? Oh, this? Oh man, that's a rope, but it's not really an eye. Let me see if I can get close enough. It's a little yin yang symbol in a glass bead. I found it at a Ren fair. I'll show the other one too. I found it in a Ren fair a couple of years ago. Me and my son got matching ones. He's got a red one, I got a blue one. I've been wearing it for like 3 years now. This has been the most stout piece of jewelry I have ever had. It's pretty awesome. But we have like 20 of these character traits we go through, and not all of our students agree with all of them. Not all of our parents agree with all of them. But what we do that's different from just having these discussions is we talk about how these things can relate in day-to-day life and how you can make decisions based on them in day-to-day life. Some of the other words of the week are like focus, discipline, compassion, right? These are the kind of things that we talk about. And I always tell people, I'm not trying to tell you what to believe. We're just going to talk about what this word means, what it looks like when we act in a way like that, what it feels like when other people act towards us in a way like that. And then I let my students decide if that is a trait that they want to pursue. And if it is, I say, all right, all we got to do is every time we have to make a little decision about how we respond to somebody, how we talk to somebody, how we handle a problem, what we do next, we filter it through this new lens so that we can start making different decisions and creating different habits from what we had before. Like I say, one of those habits, and I'm just as bad about sitting and scrolling through social media as everybody else. I'm not here trying to say I'm some kind of saint when it comes to that, but I also know what it does to me, right? When I scroll social media for 15 or 20 minutes, I might feel physically rested, but I get a little snappy. I get a little frustrated, and the reason for that is quite simple. Every piece of content, most pieces of content, are meant to elicit some sort of emotional response, positive, negative, neutral, or otherwise. And our brain's not meant to cycle through so many emotions in such a short time. And when it does, it's just emotionally draining. We've burned so many calories, we've burned so much energy on these emotional states, right? Whereas we would feel a lot better if we just spent 5 minutes being bored in a lot of cases. Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Treva. No, man, I hope the same for you. You know, that everything's good with you, and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, admittedly, I've been dealing with some heavy stuff lately. That's one of the reasons I haven't been doing my Teammate Talks episodes lately. I had some personal things, some business things. It's been a rough couple of months. And, you know, just trying to do what we always do and buckle down and do the things we got to do to get through the moment and then move on. And I'm trying to show patience with these situations that are happening. Some of them are outside of my control. For example, I haven't had access to my Google advertising account for 2 months. They're charging me thousands of dollars a month for ads that I have no control over the ads or the budgets because they removed my admin access randomly and have said they'll reinstate it for 2 months now. Still haven't done it. That's one of them that's still just absolutely burning me up at this point. But yeah, you know, the thing about life though is that there's always something going sideways, there's always something going bad, and there's always good things happening too. And it becomes really easy to miss or not give enough attention to the good thing that's happening or the sensations of now because you're stuck in the problems you're still trying to solve and can't figure out how to move through, right? And I know that's a problem I have. That's a big problem I have. And so I have to remind myself 5 or 6 times a day to close my eyes and actually sense the world around me, actually feel, touch, be involved in sensations, taste, vision, actually pay attention to what I'm looking at, and not just be in my head the whole time. That's been an ongoing process for me for like 14 years. And see, this is why I'm so passionate about being able to talk about and have these discussions about character traits and virtues, is by having consistent discussions about them, it reminds us that these are topics that exist and these are things that might be slipping in our own life and things that we can benefit from. I don't talk about these things in a way to teach it. I talk about these things as a way to have discussions about it so that it is up front in all of our minds. Now with the kids, we teach it, right? And we keep it really simple. So when it comes to patience and like accepting things calmly, one of the things we point out is accepting that some people are going to like things that you don't like and some people are not going to like things that you like, and that's okay, and we don't have to get mad or hate somebody because they don't like something that we like. That's one of many examples we use. Integrity, we often talk about keeping your word with the young ones. So we say, you know, if you say, I do the dishes, that's a promise. Do we have to say that I promise for it to be a promise? No. If we say we're going to do it, that is a promise. And then we talk about how to like apologize if something goes wrong. Okay, so you said you do the dishes, you forgot to. Now, how do you apologize? Is saying I'm sorry enough? No, of course not. First, we're going to state what we did. I forgot to do the dishes. It's my fault. It was something that I promised to do. And then we offer to make it up to them by either I'll do the dishes now, or if dishes are already done, hey, I'll take care of this, whatever it is, right? And even our youngest kids, even our 5 and 6-year-olds can understand that concept, right? I feel like I wish more adults understood that concept of how to apologize. Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, that Google thing does sucks really bad. And then, you know, this is always a traditional downtime for a business like ours, and I fully expected it to be a downtime, but I wanted to try something different this year with our advertising budget and try to increase it during the downtime and see if I could like keep things stable. That ended up not working, but in the middle of that, I had increased my ad budget on Google by like 150%, like more than doubled what it usually is, and that's when I got locked out of my account. So it's continuing to run at that increased budget, and so join that with our traditional summer downtime, and I'm just losing money. I'm working every day. I'm paying for the right to work every day at this point. But I know it's going to come back around. Do you have any idea how many months we've lost money in this business in the past 15 years? Like it does come back around eventually if you put in the work, if you actually try to improve things in the way they need to be improved and stuff like that. And so I guess this video is just me reminding myself that I need to take time to smell the roses too. It's kind of funny given my tattoo is roses, my name is Rose, but yeah, so I just wanted to touch base what we were talking about when it comes to patience and integrity. I will start trying to do a few more of these live videos as a way to stay in touch with parents and adult students and stuff like that. So feel free to jump on these videos, say whatever you want to say. Even if you're not watching it live, I'll come back and respond to you. I know I have a few adult students and a few parents of students I've not been doing a good job of staying in touch with and keeping on top of, hey, here's what we're covering in class. Here's, where little Johnny's at in this kind of stuff and all that. And so I'm going to start using these live videos as a way to get back in touch with you guys again. I might not get back to doing them weekly like I used to, but I'm just going to try to jump on whenever I can and kind of talk about what we're talking about when it comes to character development, or maybe even things we're working on in class. Like my traditional classes right now are going through a final exam for their rank, which is always a stressful time for students because they're having to show us that they remember each part of the curriculum they've learned over the past 8 months or so, and that can be tough. Our Tigers right now are doing an absolutely awesome job. I have a new lead instructor for my level 2 Tigers, my 7 and 8 year olds. He is 14, and I know young, right? But he does an absolutely outstanding job running classes of like 14 to 18 kids with 1 or 2 assistants that he's training himself to be his assistants. It's so there are still a lot of awesome things going on, and so it's important for me to realize that, to not let the bad things and the problems and the issues I'm dealing with overshadow the cool things that are happening right in front of me, such as getting to watch this 14-year-old become this incredible leader, right? Getting to watch some of these kids, like my parkour kids, getting to watch some of them hit their first flips. That's always incredible to get to see. Watching my martial arts kids have that aha moment when they're intermediates and advanced and they think they kind of stink because they stink compared to everyone else in class, and I have them go back to the beginners. I say, go spar with the beginners and tell me how you feel afterward, and they always come back going, oh, I had no idea how much better I've gotten, how much smoother I am, all these other things. And those are the things I need to reframe. Those are the things I need to refocus on. So I always like hearing y'all's positives. I always like hearing y'all's hey, this really cool thing, or I'm feeling great about class because of this thing and all that. And I will say this out of a vanity thing, I appreciate, I was a little scared a couple weeks ago to go and do this braids thing, this like Norse braid style thing, but a lot of my students have been very complimentary of it. I really appreciate you guys for dabbing me up on that kind of thing. But I'm gonna go ahead and jump off here since it's Thursday and I've still gotta play in classes. Till I see you guys again, be the best teammates you can be, and be the best at being you.